Hi guys, welcome back to the Heel Podcast. This is our Royal Rumble podcast last month thing, first one of 2021. Wrestling.
Happy New Year.
Indeed, Happy New Year. Even though this is the 1st of February, it's kind of weird that we've not done a podcast for the entirety of January. I mean, technically we did a bit of Wrestle Kingdom, you and me, Link, but it wasn't. Yeah. We didn't do proper. I don't think it was a proper podcast.
No. I think the closest thing we've had to a pay-per-view since obviously Wrestle Kingdom was New Year's Evil on NXT, which was great. I'm just throwing it out there. But with it not being one of their main shows, we didn't do the podcast that we'd usually do for it.
Yeah, because it's still not in a great position, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
Shall we start off with the thing that happened nearly over a month ago now, but something that hit all three of us really hard was the loss of my silence on my phone. The loss of John Huber, Luke Harper, Brody Lee.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have read the thing that his wife Amanda had recently put out.
I started reading the start of it, and I find it too hard.
Yeah, it was not pleasant. Just the full chronicle of, from when they started showing to obviously him passing. It just shows it can kind of happen to anyone. Like it came from nowhere.
Yeah.
But it wasn't obvious. There was no signs beforehand. They still don't know what it was. They're saying it wasn't COVID because it did several tests and they will all come back negative.
Yeah, well, I didn't carry on reading, like I said, because I found it really, really hard. But they were both saying it was pneumonia, is what they both thought it might have been, which is a nasty one. It's a nasty one. It's not. That's a horrible way to go as well. I know people that have, from personal experience, that have died from pneumonia, and it's quite grim.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, thoughts are with his family, his kids. It's just such a. It's an awful time. Horrible thing, especially, it was Christmas.
But I think the tributes, afterwards were very fitting, and he wasn't necessarily the top build star on either WWE. I mean, even in AEW, technically he wasn't even the top build stars, was he? But he was obviously
he was loved backstage, like
on both.
He was absolutely loved.
Mm-hmm. And you could see that, and so WWE they did their bit. And I thought it was probably right and fitting that they did their bit. They did what?
I mean, they threw a tribute for him. Like that's more than a lot of past stars have ever had.
Well, this is what normally happens.
Had several mentions of him during the show for WWE in the shows afterwards.
Normally, once you've gone, they might do a little in memory of screen at the start of the show or at the end of the show or whatever. But they actually did some segments. They've got like loads and loads of episodes on their YouTube. They've got the whole what is it? Is it Feel the Power with the New Day stuff, which was basically going through with all of the backstage. It wasn't just New Day; it was the whole backstage. I think I haven't actually watched them, but
I haven't seen that yet.
I'm fairly sure that's what they are. So that's good. And then obviously AEW's tributes were pretty damn good. They've retired. Retired the belts design with him.
Read that, but at the end, she did say that they didn't have a funeral, and that the AEW tribute show was their way of a funeral and their way to say goodbye to him.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It was actually a funeral. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's news to me. I actually shivers down my neck then. Oh, that was weird. Yeah. I didn't know that. But yeah, it was. I think retiring the design as well was a nice touch. Giving it to negative. What are they calling him now? -1.
Well, yeah, it's Brody Lee Jr.
Yeah.
His name's like Brody Gorilla.
Don't know.
Yeah, Brody Gorilla Huber, and then their other son is Nolan Rhino Huber.
Cool names.
Yeah.
Obviously now there's not really much else we can say on that real situation, but
no,
our thoughts go out to his family and his obviously very, very close friends that he has in the whole of wrestling.
Yeah, I think both companies handled it absolutely brilliantly, and I think if anything came from it all was probably his wife's statement that she put out about stop trying to compare one to the other, how much they loved both companies equally.
Yeah.
They didn't hate WWE. They never hated WWE. He left because he wanted more from his career. It wasn't WWE's fault. It wasn't his fault. It's just the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that WWE were excellent to them. They absolutely loved their time there and love people that are there. And they were just basically saying that we should all stop trying to score points against the companies between each other and just enjoy wrestling, because that's what Brody did. That's what everybody wants from wrestling. And to be honest with you, I think that's probably the best point that was made this year so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Wrestling, that is something that we've been saying for quite a while, basically since we started on the podcast. Just, it's not WWE, it's not AEW. Just to be happens that we watch more WWE doesn't mean we're going to go and like just mess all over what AEW are doing, you know?
Correct.
But obviously with AEW, in the last month we've had the crossover with TNA.
We have, yeah.
We've had
Omega won the belt.
Yeah.
To Impact. It's been interesting. It's strange to see them using the Bullet Club name.
I like it though.
It keeps getting sneakily snuck in there every now and again, which is just like, ooh, okay.
Definitely want to see something happen with that. Something carry on with that. They can't just believe it now.
I've got a feeling that where that's going is they're going to, at some point, have the crossover with Japan as well, because Tama Tonga's going absolutely mental on Twitter about it. Obviously, Tama being in New Japan, still part of Bullet Club. Absolutely mental about it, because obviously it's owned by New Japan, which is why AJ, Balor, and the Good Brothers weren't able to use the Bullet Club name in WWE.
They were the club, yeah. That's what they always go by.
That's why they became the Balor Club, because it was BC. They're sneaking ways around it, which it happens. That's the way in it, with copyrights and stuff.
Whatever sells, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else really happened with AEW Impact? Obviously, we watched Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom was good. We were saying I wouldn't probably watch the weeklies or the sort of really monthlies. I probably the next time I'm going to watch it probably will be Wrestle Kingdom again next year, realistically. But that's because I struggle to catch WWE because just time.
Yeah. It's not an easy one to keep up with, Wrestle Kingdom, and I think, to be honest with you, it'll probably be the same for me. I might catch a highlight every now and again or something, but yeah, it'll probably be Wrestle Kingdom next year for me as well. That's not because the product's not good. The product's great. I just can't keep up with whatever schedule they've got because it's never made particularly clear, which isn't great.
Well, I paid what £7 on their network, essentially, yeah, and they're well worth the money just for those 2 nights, to be fair, or 2 mornings for us technically.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Considering we used to pay 15 odd quid just for a pay-per-view on Sky Sports box office or whatever it was.
That's it.
And even that's now like 25 quid if you want to go with the box office.
Silly money on the pay-per-views, isn't it?
Well, just be grateful we're not in America's, because I think it's like $60 for a pay-per-view over there.
I wouldn't be paying it.
People did though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people buy it, they're gonna charge these prices, aren't they? So that's the crazy thing of the world.
Supply demand.
Exactly. Just trying to think what else happened on other shows before we come back to.
While we're on the subject of payments and networks and things like that, we should probably mention that WWE have sold their American rights to the WWE Network for a deal that apparently was over $1 billion.
which is just mental.
It's just crazy money. But it now means that it will be merging with Peacock, which is NBCU Peacock, I believe, which is the NBC network's on-demand service, I suppose. So there are, from what I've read and know, there are two tiers available to that. One is $5.99, which comes with adverts, and one is $9.99, which comes without adverts. So essentially, for Americans, they'll still be paying $9.99 a month for the network with no adverts and a bunch of extra content as well.
Yeah, it works out so better.
If anything, they're getting a better deal. So it's a really, really good thing for them, I guess.
It's going to be interesting what happens over the rest of the world, though, because it's not just, obviously, us in the UK. It's the whole of Europe. Africa's obviously coming into it huge now. Obviously, Asia is just enormous on the WWE. And Australia's growing as well. So it's like...
Yeah, absolutely.
What on earth is going to happen there? I'd be surprised if we lose the network completely.
I think it's going to stay as it is, to be honest with you, mate. Because over in Canada, the entire time, Canada's never had a network like we have it. Right. So for Canada, their model for the network was actually, it was sold to a TV channel.
Okay.
And it's literally just broadcast 24/7. Whatever's on live on the network is what's showing on the TV.
But they don't get the whole go back and watch.
No on demand.
Oh, see, if we lose on demand, I would be gutted. Because even the crappy little things like their little ride logs, whatever they are, I sit and watch them occasionally. I'll binge them. I'll be sat here editing at the computer on the telly. I'll have that on, just binge it because it's easy content, and it's also you're watching the people that you enjoy watching wrestling, but it's actually you actually see the real side of them. Yeah. I like that on the majority of these their offsprings, they actually do break character, and it's just them being them, and I quite like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with
that. They won't take network away from the European countries.
Well, it'd be crazy. It'd be like unless they get. See, they will, but only if they get a deal with another company, like something like Netflix or something comes along and like, oh, we'll take the European rights. You know, that's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah,
realistically.
We won't actually lose it as such.
No. But it's just going to be interesting to see how that sort of pans out over the next year, isn't it? With the whole world's viewing.
I think the most interesting part, the most interesting part of it all is going to be seeing how the interface changes with it, because obviously that's the big thing at the moment with the WWE network is it's geared around the WWE. You know, every search engine on it is geared around the wrestlers that are in it, and there's probably content still on the network that this new network as such might find a little too risky. I don't know. You know, there are key moments in WWE's past that probably
the old school attitude era. Yeah.
So it's very. I think the big disappointing thing for me in the whole thing is it may mean we don't get the independent wrestling joining up with the network that was supposed to be happening with people like ICW and stuff. I know we've got little bits of them on the network, but I mean, we were at one point promised a full library was coming and everything else.
I mean, if the network's staying, we might end up seeing the UK ones in particular that do. To be fair, because if they're not showing, if it's not being used in America and it's only used in elsewhere in the world, we might do.
This is true.
Because let's be honest, Americans aren't really going to be interested in watching ICW. Let's be real. I'd be surprised. Like, if they're going to go out there and go, right, I really fancy watching ICW. Whereas I think we go like, okay, it's a British company. Yeah, well, let's watch it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you say that, but there's a lot of big names that have come from there. You know, Drew McIntyre, Devitt.
Yeah. But I don't think, on the whole, the Americans tend to just stick with the sort of the main products. On the whole, it is fact that they will.
Your casual viewers definitely, absolutely. So and obviously the bulk portion of their audience. So I'll give you that.
Okay, so we've done that. As we were sort of mentioning the network, we'll move on to NXT. Obviously, we mentioned New Year's Evil. I've just got it up now, just to remind me of the match because I forgot to pop it up. Obviously, we had in that match, we had Finn versus Kyle O'Reilly.
We did. Yeah, again, number 2.
It's a good match, to be fair, though. Again, I think Finn versus Kyle O'Reilly is good. What did we have at the end? I think we had... Who came out and attacked Finn? Was that on New Year's Evil?
That was after the match.
Yeah, but it was on New Year's Evil, wasn't it? It wasn't on...
Yeah, I think Pete Dunne, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, so it was his bunch. And they seem to be defending Finn, so it seems to be like they're doing that thing where Finn is going to potentially join the Undisputed Era, or something else is going to happen. They're going to have
They definitely teased that again this week, where they had all 4 of them stood in a line together with Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Bobby Fish is out with injury again, I guess, because he just is always out with injury.
Yeah,
it's a shame because he's so good.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like wrestlers that aren't out with injury every 5 minutes, but hey ho. I'm sorry, but if you made of glass, you probably shouldn't be wrestling.
You become a referee.
GM player.
We also had in that match the big sort of standout one was Gonzalez versus Ripley, last women's standing match.
Great match.
Maybe we talked about before the Rumble that could have potentially been Rhea's last match on NXT.
Yeah. I still think it was.
I'm not entirely convinced right now, but I could see it could well be. I really
she had a pretty strong showing. I think that was the last match.
My only thing is that it was in the middle of the show. I think I wonder if someone of Rhea's level that they would be main event. You know. I mean, it's a last women's standing match. Great match, to be fair. Nice spot at the end, but good.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. I enjoyed the whole let's lock Dakota Kai in a locker a bit. I thought that was very funny. There was a few spots within the match that were just okay, cool, yeah. I really enjoyed that match.
But yeah, I mean the rest of the card on that on the actual New Year's Evil was solid as well with the mixed tags. I enjoyed the mixed tag. To be fair, I know you're not necessarily a fan of Johnny Gargano.
No, I'm not.
But I like him. It's just one of them things.
Obviously, there was the fight pit that didn't happen on that show as well.
Yeah, so we did have the fight pit. When was that?
Last week.
Last week, wasn't the week before.
It may have been the week before. I don't know.
Could well have been. Well, anyway.
It was recently.
So who was... That was Thatcher.
Thatcher and Ciampa.
And Ciampa, yeah. I was thinking it was Thatcher, and I was like, my brain's just gone, nope, who was the other one?
Yeah. Thatcher, Ciampa, and eventually, it was a great match. I really like the fight pit's feel. Because it's a ringless ring, or ropeless ring, but then it's got the cage directly on it, and the only way in or out of it is to climb up and in. But then it's got like a scaffolding around the top of the cage as well for you to stand on.
It's like it's like a cage match on steroids, isn't it?
Well, it's not even that, because you don't have to escape or anything. Like, you have to climb up and down the cage because otherwise you can't get in the ring. That's how they start the matches. Like they actually started the match for this one on top of the scaffold, I guess. Some great spots without winning it. Using the corner of the cages, I guess, and sticking Ciampa's leg through the corner.
Yeah, that was good.
Brace. That was the end for the submission win.
Good for him.
I thought it was fantastic. I think it was done very well. I think both wrestlers are just hard-hitting, absolute badasses. I think that's the only way you can describe their style, and they gelled perfectly in that match, and I think it went really well. So much so that they are now apparently a tag team.
Yeah. Do you know what? It makes me... Sometimes I sit there and think, I wish I see Ciampa come into the main roster like Raw or SmackDown. And then I sit there and think, do you know what? In a way, I'm not, because I'm happy for him to stay where he is, because he still puts on amazing matches with some really good youngsters as well.
Ciampa's in his best role now because he is essentially the gatekeeper, isn't he?
Yeah.
If you want to go to Raw or SmackDown, you've got to go through Ciampa.
Yeah.
Remember, Ciampa did come to the main roster.
He did for a bit, didn't he? But
Yeah.
he was DIY for it when he came up, wasn't he?
Which was weird.
It was really weird because it's like they've been feuding and then he came back and it's like, okay, but now they're DIY on SmackDown, I think they went to.
Yeah.
It was a strange scenario.
Really weird.
I'm glad that they didn't stick that through and brought him back to NXT.
Yeah. Who else came up? We had
Gargano, Aleister Black, and Ricochet.
Yeah.
Okay, it was just those four, wasn't it? And then you look at Black and Ricochet now, and you sort of think, yeah, they should have stayed down as well, because what a waste on the main roster they've sort of become.
Although, you know, as we've said before, not everybody can be the main title. It's not possible.
You're not going to have everyone there.
Oh no. Exactly, but I think certainly I think Ricochet's maybe sort of does his role in there, but I think Black's probably higher than what he has been. I think Black,
He's probably a mid-card belt. He should be in contention for a mid-card belt, definitely. I don't think he's much higher than that.
Nah, see, I'm not. I think he's sort of the Keith Lee level, to be honest with you. Sort of would float between the two.
I mean, I can see where you're going, but like, I don't think Black's promos are any good at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, we say that, but there's been a lot worse people at promos than him in the recent years that have got the title.
Although Keith's not the best promo in the world, he's so much better in the ring. Like, his matches are just literally phenomenal.
Yeah, the matches are great. Whereas this is the thing with Black I like is that he's
a gimmick.
He's devastating. To be fair, his finisher does look like he's actually killed someone.
It is good, but it's a gimmick, isn't it? Like, it's not I wouldn't see it ever touching the main event personally.
I don't think it will now anyway, regardless.
Well, no, it was definitely.
Anything else? NXT? I'm just trying to think.
Obviously, Dusty Classic is in full swing on both men's and women's this year for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I know absolutely nothing about it because although I've watched it, I've gone, oh yeah, that's cool, and then kind of gone, forgot that.
But well, I'm sure we'll touch on that on the next podcast anyway.
Yeah, more than likely when it ends. It's been good. Like, the matches have been good. The Rascals from Impact have come over and debuted as part of the classic. I know that, whatever they're calling themselves now, I can't remember.
Is it MGK?
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly.
That's exactly. They said it MGK, and I'm like, I'm sure that's what? That's Machine Gun Kelly.
I know that.
I'm sure it was MGK. Well, I might be wrong.
I don't know.
Abuse me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Abusing Mickey's right too. It's down. It's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I just ignore you.
It's not too bad anyway.
So obviously, it's all leading up to the big main event, the big pay-per-view, the big one that we all love.
It was
our favorite.
ICW Redemption. I mean, sorry.
But yeah, Royal Rumble was great. So shall we do it how we normally do? So we'll go through the matches and we'll just talk about the storylines, and then if we can think of any others that maybe didn't touch the show last night, we'll touch on them. I think that's probably a good way to do it, isn't it?
Oh, sorry.
So
yeah, I can tell it was quite a late night last night.
It was. Well, this morning.
Early this morning.
We managed to film in the same morning. So Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler against Asuka and Charlotte Flair, new tag team champions. I think I haven't got our predictions. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Dan.
I ain't got the predictions.
Dan, I'm the only one who lost this one.
Yeah, I think I've got a rough idea anyway.
I haven't got a clue.
So me and Link, I'm fairly sure, both went Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler on this one, and Pete went for a retain because Pete went to retain on all of them. Because he's a nutter. But yeah,
to be fair, I went far off.
Okay.
He was right on most of them.
Yeah, I went far off. And this was pre-show, so it didn't count.
Yeah.
It definitely does. We did a prediction on it. It definitely does. Shut up.
Yeah.
So this was an okay match. It's just that it had Nia Jackson and
and it was the pre-show. We'd all only just settled in, and none of us were really paying attention.
None of us were synced up. It was
If it was anyone apart from Nia Jax, I mostly would have gone for a title change, but I just can't. I just don't want to see Nia Jax hold a belt again.
She already holds the belt, mate.
No, what he's saying is he would have said it would have been a title change.
No.
I would have said a title change.
But he just didn't want to see Nia Jax. Although we wanted to see Shayna with the title again. So it's kind of weird. Yeah. So we had that. We've had all the build-up. But it's weird. Charlotte's build-up hasn't been with any of this. Charlotte's build-up into this was with her dad and Lacey Evans. It's like, what? Obviously, they appeared in that. They appeared in that match, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So they came.
Yeah, Lacey came out to Rick's music.
Yeah, and then she also did
in his robe.
She also did in the Rumble as well, didn't she?
No, that's what I meant, and then left feathers all over the place.
Oh, that was in the Rumble. But what about during this match? I'm sure they came out during this match.
They did.
Yeah.
She broke up. Lacey Evans broke up the figure of four. And
figure of four.
The figure four, not the figure of four.
Figure of four.
The finger poke of doom is what he's thinking. The figure of four.
No, we don't mention that again. Link spoke about that last night.
But yeah, there's not really much else we can add on that. We can't sit here and go, yeah, we were all watching it, but we weren't. Not really.
Yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining match.
No, I was busy setting up. I was eating pizza, to be honest with you. I was quite happy. I was really quite content, just sat there munching.
Yeah, I won't even lie. I didn't watch the match. Like, I don't know what happened. I wasn't paying any attention.
You were on Discord the entire time. And if you're not in our Discord, come and join us. Link in the description. Hey, segue.
We did an awful lot last night. There was. It was probably one of our busiest streams as well. Like, I think we did really well last night.
Viewership was good as well.
140 something unique people came and watched last night with us, which is we're doing some good numbers at last, which is very nice to see. So thank you very much if you are watching this and you were with us last night.
Are you one of the one?
If you weren't with us last night,
then come and follow us in our Twitch.
Come watch us.
Yeah. Before you start offending people that haven't watched us. Start of the main show, Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg, which Link told us it was hilarious. So you heard it, if you've watched the predictions, you heard us saying that Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens is going to start the main show. They come out, Drew and Goldberg, and he goes, "I told you it'd be them. I told you." And I went, "No, Link, you said it'd be Roman versus Kevin." And he was like, "Oh yeah." It's superb. But I mean, I'm so grateful. I've never been so grateful that I've lost a prediction. I think you went Goldberg as well in the end, Link, as well.
Yeah, I did.
Pete went Drew. So I'm really grateful, really grateful that I got it wrong. We had Drew with a spear.
The minute, there was a spear straight away, wasn't it? Then a claymore. And then Goldberg hit a couple of spears on the outside as well. This was before the match even started, wasn't it? Officially?
It was a Goldberg match. So it was a spear. It was a jackhammer. It was a spear. It was a claymore. It was a spear. It was a claymore. It was a win.
Guesses on time length, lads?
5 minutes.
No,
because remember, a lot of that was before the bell.
The thing was, the bell didn't. The ring didn't actually ring till they got back in after the barricade went down. The barrier went down.
2 minutes.
2 minutes 30. I think that might be a Goldberg record.
No, it's not. It's not even close.
It was a joke.
To be fair,
maybe for his longest match.
It was obvious. It was obvious what was going to happen as soon as Drew kicks out of that jackhammer. But we knew where it was going.
Again, a sloppy jackhammer. He sort of drops him halfway down. Like, that doesn't help.
To be fair, Drew's a big old bloke, but don't even pull something.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. There's people in the main roster that would struggle to do what Goldberg did, but
don't try it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's your two moves and you can't do your two moves,
just do one of them.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic about it. He used to wrestle Big Show and hit the jackhammer on Big Show, so there is no excuse now. Yeah. The only excuse you could possibly give is that he's not as good as he used to be.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Not.
He's just showing it. It just is his age. It's okay to act your age.
Yeah.
I mean, this match was absolutely exhilarating and an absolute entertainment for us when it's compared to the next match. Sasha Banks versus Carmella. See, really frustrating because at times you thought that it could have actually been a good match, but there was no fluidity to it. The Carmella spot of her over jumping the suicide dive.
It was even that. Sasha apologized. She was standing. It looked like she was standing in the wrong place. At one point, she apologized. But what I found even more amazing was about a minute, 2 minutes after this, Link on our live stream went, "Do you know what? I don't think there's been any botches in this match so far."
No. I said there's not as many as there usually is in a Sasha match. Like, she wasn't as bad as usual last night. It wasn't the worst I've seen her.
No. We had it, seriously. We had the dive, and we had another botch, and then literally 30 seconds after you went, "Actually, I can't think of one." And we were like, "What?" We were like, "Mate, we've just seen one." Link was a little bit tipsy last night.
Oh, I had a drink. All right. Sometimes people make mistakes.
It did look like Sasha actually apologized.
Yeah, well, she
Right
probably
after that happened.
She should probably, apologise to the fans that have to watch her. Anyway, we should.
Wow. I think in all fairness, I think we all went Sasha, didn't we? In the end, anyway.
Yeah.
None of us could see it changing hands.
It wasn't changing like that.
Although I must admit, the highlight of that whole thing with Carmella at the moment is Reginald.
I actually really like the dude. I think
is it Reginald?
Yeah.
So he's named after Pete's dog.
Reg.
He can actually move about.
Yeah,
he's very athletic, dude.
Even the bit with, did you see it on SmackDown with Sasha? Just the talk. Eh? No. That was okay. That was a good match. To be fair, that was probably one of Sasha's better, more recent matches. But I just meant their little backstage bit with her asking if he did freelance work.
Yeah.
He can actually sell himself as being a bit dopey, but being like, "Hey, this is my job," and like takes himself really like seriously, but also he's a bit dopey. And I thought he played it really, really well during that little segment.
I really hope they don't just phase him out.
I don't think they will, to be honest with you. I think he's probably going to end up in the 205 roster or something like that.
It'd be quite cool.
I'm fairly sure he's a wrestler. Like, it makes sense.
Oh, he moves like some of the best ones we've seen in a couple of years.
He's definitely going to stick around for a while. Where he goes is a different story, but he's definitely going to stick around.
He's not just flippy; he's smooth flippy as well, isn't he? And that's hard to do. That's hard to do, to be smooth. And he just looks like he's not even trying.
Effortless. Yeah.
But yeah. So that whole thing, they've just sort of been out of back and forth, Sasha and Carmella with Reginald, and that's pretty much how it's gone over the last sort of month anyway. So that storyline's there. And then we had our first match of our favourite matches of the year, Women's Royal Rumble.
Yes, we did.
We could not believe throughout this Rumble just how many people were in the ring at any one point.
Yeah.
So we normally sat there with 6, 7 maybe maximum.
Yeah, there's normally a power, like the ring will fill up a little bit, and then you get the powerhouse in that comes in, clears ring, with the exception of maybe a couple of them, and then we end up with the building back up again before the big clear out towards the end. That's a normal kind of progression throughout most Rumbles in history. So for this one, it just kind of trickled the whole time. There was no. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. I very much enjoyed the Rumble. But it trickled. It was like little bit by little bit by little bit the whole way through. There was no big sort of, wow, this is an amazing spot. They're going to go on and win the whole thing. It was kind of
like Rhea had the most eliminations throughout the show, and she had throughout the match. She had 7 eliminations. But like even then, she came in at 14th, and they weren't like we were expecting. We was like, okay, this is getting a bit silly. We got to number 12, and we was like, oh, it's going to be someone big. Santana Garrett come out. We're like, yeah, ain't going to be her. Number 13, nah, ain't gonna be Liv either. 14,
yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, Rhea. Then number 15 comes out. We're like, Charlotte, okay, we might actually have some clearances. And it just didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Yeah, weird.
The thing was, the first elimination, how many people come out before the first person even got eliminated?
So the first elimination was Shotzi, was at 5.
Yeah.
The second elimination was Gillian Hall, which was at 2. It was at 2, was at 8. So she was eliminated second, she was out at 8.
So Shotzi come out quite late, and she was the first elimination. At one point, for a long time, it was like, wow, there's been no eliminations at all.
Well, think about it that way. By the time Gillian was eliminated, there was at least 6 people in the ring still. And there was more than that because she wasn't eliminated till I think there was a couple of people came out after her because Peyton Royce was out for a start because obviously they did the whole spot with Billy and Jilly, which was a thing.
That was one of Dan's names.
Billion. I think I like it. I like the name. It's actually a word. Billion.
He came out with Billion last night.
I'm just going to move on.
Better than Angaza, though, isn't it?
I knew that was coming. Stop making up words.
I have a word. I have a word. 2 words. No, 1 word. Yeah, that's what I was going for. It was obviously the Iron Man, the Iron Woman was the winner. Bianca coming in at 3rd. I was she did really well. I was absolutely shocked that she eliminated Bayley so early on. By the way, Bayley came in at 1, and Bayley was out 12th.
I was very surprised Bayley went out as early as she did. I expected her to go till very near the end, and then probably even in the final 4 with a showdown with Bianca.
Well, I was thinking maybe 25th upwards. That was sort of what I was thinking for eliminated.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, and they've got to be really careful with, Rhea Ripley, stop dangling your feet over the edge.
Oh, yeah, she's too tall. Too tall.
That nearly went wrong so many times, you could see.
Yeah, no, she was definitely too tall for that spot. It just shouldn't have been done with her. There's not much more I can add to that, but yeah, no, definitely Rhea needs to stop doing the over the dangle. It's just she's too big for it.
Yeah.
So I will say the winners of both Rumbles were very, very early numbers this year.
Yeah.
You know, we've got number 1 and 3 were the winners. That's crazy.
But I mean, yeah. So obviously, with Bianca as she came out at number 3. The final 2 with her were Rhea, who came in at 14, and Charlotte that came in at 15. So to be fair, even the last 3 were all relatively early, really. First half.
I think that's the reason though that Bayley was out early. Because obviously they had the angle with Orton that ran right to the edge of the end of the men's, which obviously we'll get onto.
Mm-hmm.
So then have the exact same kind of thing running in the women's with Bianca and Bayley would have been a bit like, well, I've just watched this.
The whole Bliss bit was a bit strange for me.
Very strange.
I mean, I sort of like it because now that obviously Rhea's lost, it means that we might have Bliss versus Rhea, which I am very, very, very excited for.
I'm all about excited for that.
So obviously Bliss only lasted 1 minute and 2 seconds. She had she got beaten down, and then she started turning in Fiend Bliss, if you will, and then Rhea was like, "Nope, get out!" before she could even start actually turn. I was really interested to see what they were going to try and do, but obviously, it's like we weren't just going to have her suddenly just change, like blackout and then change face paints.
They did that on SmackDown.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
there was definitely a bit of a camera editing or something there for us.
I remember.
Yeah, true.
Do you know the one thing though? If you're going to finish on this one, there was one bit as we were finishing up last night, and everyone had gone. I was on the phone to Link for a bit, and I said to him, "Link, you do realise now Bianca's won. You do realise what brand she's on, didn't you?" And when it sunk in that she'll be fighting Sasha at Mania, you should have heard the excitement in his voice.
I mean, it's a mixture now
of
excitement and terror.
When you think about it, do you really want Rhea versus Sasha? Not really.
Do I want anyone versus Sasha?
Well, no. Well, that's the other thing, because obviously we're gonna have Asuka Charlotte, I think, at Mania on the other title, aren't we?
I don't know what's going to happen in Elimination Chamber, to be fair.
Yeah, it's kind of anybody's game on the Raw side at the moment still.
Yeah.
It's still up there for me. She's having a big storyline with Asuka at the minute.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight if anybody does turn up on Raw that wasn't necessarily on Raw last week.
Well, we're definitely getting a women's chamber this year. And not Sasha. Asuka and Charlotte will both be in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get a surprise return for the chamber.
Could do.
Maybe one that goes, oh.
Yeah. Obviously, she didn't. We were expecting Becky to return. Well, we weren't expecting her to, but it was obviously rumored that she might. Yeah. She was definitely there last night.
Did you actually see She responded to our Instagram post of the curtain.
Yeah.
And she put out this morning, sorry, I could see it was a bit misleading. I just thought it was a nice picture of a nice curtain.
What a legend. What a legend. That's good.
But Becky's back on Twitter then.
so the whole thing is with the Rumble, this wasn't a spectacular women's Rumble. I mean, any Rumble that you include Alicia Fox on, it can't be a spectacular Rumble.
I think what I liked at the end of it.
But it was good based on the circumstances that they had.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to putting it together. You know, you've got to remember they had last-minute dropouts with Mia Yim, who got diagnosed with COVID like the day before the Rumble, which is probably where I know we'll get onto it, but it's why Keith Lee probably wasn't in the men's Rumble as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's however many other people were within that bubble as such as well that probably weren't available because of the fact they were in that bubble. So they put together what they could with what they had. It's an ambitious pay-per-view at the best of times with so many people involved.
Especially during COVID.
I think it went together well. I really do.
Their match was the one we were all concerned about how they were going to fit it, but it didn't feel like anybody was sort of thrown in. I mean, Jillian Hall was a bit of a random one to turn up. Santana Garrett was maybe a little bit out there.
I think that was probably one that was thrown in, to be honest with you.
And then Foxy was a bit unexpected, but like she appeared on Raw Legends, didn't she? So
yeah, and not only that, but like the Legends are ones that you kind of expect to see a couple of Legends coming back, and they'll take who they can get with Legends. And Legends aren't just randomly there backstage. You know, it's their people that have been called in specially for it. Mm-hmm. Whereas someone like Santana Garrett would have probably just been backstage anyway because she works at NXT.
Mm-hmm.
You can't dismiss Alicia Fox because she ended up the 24/7 champion.
Oh god, she did, didn't she?
What a spot!
Oh my god, that was actually the most disappointing thing of the Rumble, the Women's Rumble. Not the fact that Fox won the title, but the fact that she got eliminated and then Truth rolled her up. What I would have loved to have seen was it to have gone round the ring, then pinning during the Rumble with the women, and then eventually it coming out, and then Truth taking going off with the title again. That would have been so much better. I would have really, really, really liked that if we'd actually ended up with like a few current roster women's that have actually gone, hey, yeah, I've had the 24/7 championship.
I tell you what I would like to see with the 24/7 belt at the moment is, so the hardcore belt kind of went the same way with the old Elroy Jetson kind of thing with Crash Holly back in the day.
Right, yeah.
And eventually it got taken by someone like Steve Blackman.
Yeah.
Who just dominated and held the belt for a long period. I'd like to see that happen with the 24/7 belt at some point. But
it won't be Truth that could do that, will it? So
no, absolutely not true. Truth is the Crash Holly of the current division. It should be someone like Shayna Baszler, in my opinion.
Ooh.
It should be a woman that does it and absolutely dominates that division for a while. I think that would be absolutely spot on a position for her to be in right now.
Because she could legitimately kick male or female's asses. And
exactly. I think that would be a perfect spot.
Yeah, I like that.
One thing I took out from the Women's Rumble, though, every year we want someone to get a bit of a push. And at the end of the day, the person that won it has deserved the biggest push this year, I reckon. Bianca Belair, we've said for ages she needs a push. Now she's going to main event WrestleMania.
This is the thing. I'm a big fan of the Rumble when you elevate. I mean, I'm not completely like, I'm not upset about the winner of the men's Rumble, but
it's definitely
the women's does what I want it to, which is elevate a career, completely elevate a career, which I think is what it's gonna do.
Yeah,
it's similar. So who won the first Rumble? Asuka.
First women's, Asuka.
Yeah. So obviously we had Asuka. No.
First women's was. Oh yeah, it was Asuka, and then they had Charlotte and Alexa was sat ringside because they were the champions at the time, and then Ronda came out and completely stole the moment.
That's it. Yeah. So, but that pushed Asuka from obviously NXT star to top of the main shows, which did it. So exactly what it's done is sort of what Bianca. I'm hoping will happen with Bianca, that she's now going to be continuously around that title picture, which is what I want. I don't want her.
She belongs, to be fair. Like, she's fantastic.
Yeah, completely agreed. But yeah, that was. They did really well considering circumstances.
I was happy with that.
Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Opinions, boys. Last man standing.
I didn't dislike the match. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was a good match. I thought there were some very clever spots. Even the thing with the handcuffs, I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
The ending bit was kind of like, okay, that was obviously not what was meant to happen, but there
was nothing. We were saying afterwards maybe it could have been done slightly differently with bolt cutters for visual effects, but no one knew it was going to happen the way it did.
Yeah, the thing is, I think it was a superb match, actually. I'm just going to go as far as that. There was some great spots, hard hitting. It was what you want from a last man standing match.
Absolutely.
The golf cart.
Even the golf cart, I thought that was great, mate. Absolutely. I mean, the window looked like it got probably slapped a little bit on Reigns' face. That must have, not necessarily hurt, but that would have stung. Absolutely stung.
In a bit of shock, I'll give you that.
He's watering, that would have been.
Yeah.
Dan, there was a little bit afterwards that once we were still chatting, and I read something, and it actually made us giggle quite a bit. How it was kept within the Reigns family. That they take out people, they run over people that do stunners. And underneath it was like, I did it for The Rock.
He did it for Paul Heyman. Yeah. But yeah, again, it's hard because this could have been one of the best matches of the Reigns new era stuff, the Samoan stuff. It's just that the ending it flatlined it, didn't it? It was simple as that. It was like it took too long. It was clear that the ref had stopped the count. It wouldn't have been so bad if it wasn't a last man standing match at that point. If it had just been like a no DQ match, and it would have been absolutely okay that obviously we had that delay.
Saying that, but then you even had the bit where Roman, you could see he was struggling to do it, but literally got onto the soles of his feet just to try and make it look a bit better. So they were doing what they can with it. I think the spots it proved to me why I like Kevin Owens. The spots that he pulled in that match, the flip off the fork, the moves off the forklift and things like that. It just mental spots
like that as well that do kind of separate, a normal match from a great match is moments. And I've said it a million times about moments in wrestling, and there were several within that match, and for that reason, it's a great match.
Yeah.
He'd done that forklift bit after he had jumped off through the screen by the screens and jumped through a table. The forklift was after that, and it was like, do you know what? I could kind of forgive the end of the match because that was a complete accident because of those spots I've just watched.
Yeah.
And then during that match, we also had an amazing moment where we spotted Kane's furniture. The sign up on the stadium, Kane's furniture.
Kane's furniture.
That just a bit that made me laugh. That Pete, I think it was you that spotted it, Pete. You went, "Oh look, Kane's furniture." Only you.
As
Pete.
they went through the table.
Only you.
Maybe it was just a hint of what was to come.
Yeah. But yeah, a good match. But we'll move on to the Rumble then, Link, shall we?
1 second, will it just point out they have a second arena within the arena. Like, that was bloody weird.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, it's obviously that's because they're using it's literally just left it's all theirs at the minute, isn't it? That's the reason for it.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of for that is it's just in case they do manage to get fans in at some point and they can put them in that bit. Maybe they've got that set up, so just in case.
That actually looks like a full-size stadium. They've got that.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the Thunderdome just in the middle of the stadium? It's just that it's all.
That's what I think.
I think it's all just boxed around.
I've no idea.
I think that's all it is.
And where the screens are there, it's just they've moved it into more enclosed space.
Yeah, it's like a stadium, but then you've got like an enclosed set then in the middle of it. I think is what it is. Judging this, because especially as they walked up through the curtain and that, and it was all like little like porter cabin stuff, wasn't it? But yeah, good match. It's probably worth saying actually. We all went Reigns on this one, but also I predicted Bianca Belair in the Rumble. I got a full point. It's a full point, baby. So I don't even know how we're doing. So 1-1-0, 1-1-1, 2-2-2, 2-2-3. Ooh, 3-3-4. I'm winning by 1. Ooh.
Well, you've won then, haven't you? Because I don't think any of us got edge.
Correct. I don't think anybody. Did anybody? Maybe not even.
I don't think any of us even took him as a half point.
That's the one. Thank you.
No one had Orton.
I win the Rumble predictions! Yay!
Aren't you glad that we've got loads of punishments on this one?
Yeah. I mean,
We haven't got any because you still haven't done your last ones.
The good news is we're back to live streaming over the next week, continuously over on our Twitch, and I've got 3 punishments to do. 2 of which can be done on one stream. So come and join me on. Let's say Thursday. Let's do Thursday. I got to listen to 2 hours of Lucha House Party, or is it 1 hour?
2 hours.
2 hours. Okay, so I won't put it on stream, but it's going to be in my ear whilst I'm playing something. I don't know what it might be. It might be a trucking game. Might be something different. Might be football. We'll see. But it'll be 2 hours of me having a listen to Lucha House Party and just losing my mind. It might be what?
A lucha wrestling game.
It could well be. It's always going to turn into in my mind anyway. We still got the horseradish that me and Link will do at some point, and then we got these cutting a promo with a mouth scrambler. So we'll do those at some point over the next couple of weeks. So come find us on Twitch. Hopefully we'll probably do them over there, as it's probably easiest. Impromptu. Main event time.
Oh yeah!
Men's Royal Rumble. At number 1, Edge. At number 2, Randy Orton.
Can we just say how Link got this wrong?
What was that, Pete?
Link got this wrong straight away, didn't he? As soon as he was like, "Yep, number 1, we know it is. It's Randy Orton." And then they just Link would have a good
on his day. I was like, "That ain't Randy Orton."
So I think the thing that was most annoying about it was the fact that we knew who it was going to be ahead of time.
Yeah.
I hate all of these things with the numbers. I don't want to know who's number
Everybody
1.
else
I don't want to know who's number 2.
I didn't, because I'm stupid.
What?
Do you know what? There was I put out a thing on a Facebook page.
I originally thought it was Orton at 1 and Edge at 2 as well, mate. So
I put a thing out on a Facebook page about Bray return, who was up for seeing it, and there ended up a big argument on that, or a bit of an argument on there, about someone throwing a spoiler out that Edge and Orton are going to be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And he put a thing out going, well, it's not really a spoiler when WWE put it on Instagram.
Yeah, that's there.
Millions of people watching it.
Yeah. It's not even slightly a spoiler, is it?
It's just horrible the way they do that. I used to love the whole surprise of who's going to be number 1 and 2.
I tell you what I really used to like is when they used to do the tombola.
Yeah.
And draw a number.
I mean, it was obviously complete rubbish, but
they never even showed you the number. There probably wasn't a number on it. Just react like reactions. And then you've got Eddie who's like, "I got a great number," and then he, just stole someone else's. This is so good.
I've got a great number. I mean, sorry, I will in a minute.
You want to swap? Yeah, go on then.
But yeah, that that added bits to it, which was really good, and it was a good laugh when people come out. But you'd always try and gauge reactions growing up, watching, seeing their faces.
Although, they have done bits in the past where people predicted or could win their spot for the final entrant, stuff like that. That used to be a pretty regular thing. The 2001 Rumble, which is largely regarded as one of the best Rumbles of all time. A lot of people say 92, but they're wrong.
Wasn't even alive then.
The last entrant for that was Rikishi, and he won it in a tournament before the match.
See, I'm okay with that. But I don't know. I would rather that surprise. That's all it is.
And do you know what else really done me in a bit? I've got to admit, Edge looks so pumped up coming out of number one. I used to love people coming out and looking miserable and moody that they've got number one.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Like, even last year, Elias came out at number 2 and he's like, ugh.
Because he came out at number 1 the year before with Jeff Jarrett, didn't he?
Yeah, did. They say it's very funny, actually, because Elias cut that weird... Like, you're going to get in the ring, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is already in the ring. So you're going to walk to the ring and cut a promo taking, abusing Brock Lesnar, who you're about to get in the ring with. Dude, just shut up. Just be quiet. You're about to die. Just shh. You might be nice and do it quickly.
Speaking of Brock, we didn't see him appear last night. You were sort of hoping that you would. Obviously, he was your pick, wasn't he, Link? I think in your end, your full point.
He was, yeah. I worked with Brock flat out because I was just like, well, you got to throw one out there sometimes, haven't you?
Yeah.
But like Adam Oakley's been doing for every single year since 2014.
He still thinks Punk's coming back, doesn't he? Yeah.
Every pay-per-view, Punk's coming back.
I mean, statistically, if he says it for every pay-per-view, then he'll be right. He could be right eventually.
Yeah, I mean, even Ed Squirrel's right twice a day.
Wow. Wow. So obviously we mentioned I mentioned Jeff Jarrett as well. We mentioned Brock Lesnar. So we're talking returns. Edge was a return, but he wasn't a surprise.
Not really.
Obviously, he'd already announced himself, didn't he? But we had Carlito, which was good to see Carlito.
Yeah, very good to see Carlito. He's looking good.
Pumped.
Yeah, definitely bigger.
Pump's the correct word. We also had Kane. Kane made his return.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Kane was there, making him the most ever entrance into a Royal Rumble.
18, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Stupid. He came in at 18 as well.
Yeah. Just absolutely fantastic. I love Kane. Always loved Kane. Still got 2 more eliminations, which puts him further ahead for the most eliminations, combined eliminations.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of Kane, the next return was the Hurricane. That we think, I said, and I think the lads agreed, we think that was the replacement for Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Because
Keith Lee was definitely built to be in there, and he went.
He works backstage for WWE now, so it wouldn't have took him a lot to just go, hey, go get your ring gear. You're going to be the one that's replacing Keith, because Keith, like I said, Keith is probably going to be isolating with Mia. So
teach you always carry your ring gear.
Yeah. And then I think the next one may have been my favourite return of the night.
Yeah.
Christian.
Definitely.
Christian returning as well. That was really good to see him in the ring. He looks.
Link's like Christian returned.
Yeah, at this point, Link wasn't well aware what was going on.
I love Christian return. What are you on about?
Wait, Lambo!
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I expected him out earlier, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were calling it for very early, especially when Edge was being sort of ganged up on as well.
Yeah, I called it early on that Christian would be in the match. Fantastic that he was. I was very happy to see him. I'm a big fan of Christian. I think I'm actually possibly a bigger fan of Christian than Edge. I think Christian's work in TNA when he went over there originally was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love that stuff. So yeah, I was very happy to see Christian. Very happy.
Yeah, it looks in great shape. Actually, he doesn't look any different since when he last wrestled. It's so bizarre. The same shape, even he doesn't look like he's aged that much either. It's kind of crazy. Whereas, like, no offense to Edge, but
you can tell he's changed.
Yeah. Like, even his body's changed, hasn't it? Let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, the men's rumble though, I really enjoyed the men's rumble, as I always do with the rumbles.
There was only one bit I was really disappointed with.
What's that?
And it was how obvious they made it when Orton went out so early, and then they were going back. They were cutting his knee pad off, putting ice on it, and everyone's going, "He's coming back." It's so obvious he's coming back. If they just left him and took him out, they would have been like, "Is he? Ain't he?" It's the way the camera kept on going back and showing him.
And the thing is, then the commentators at the end, when Edge was the last one standing, they went, Edge has won! Edge has won! Last man standing! Bearing in mind in a time where the camera was panned, they had Orton in front of them.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like, I'm all for telling the story. I'm not such a fan of when it's completely like, hey, you guys are dumbasses.
That's the thing. It's not even a big deal, but I would have just liked it if they let him go out, they took him out, and then hopefully everyone could forget about him, not keep on going back and showing him again. Just remind you he's still in.
Yeah.
It was too predictable.
Yeah.
But
the only small bit. But otherwise, I enjoyed it.
But when Orton's obviously stood behind Edge, we're thinking Orton's going. I did think Orton is going for 3 here.
Yeah, I thought he was coming back, and then he was gonna snatch it.
If he I thought that's bold from WWE to make him the first one to match Stone Cold. I think someone's going to eventually. We're going to end up with people on 3.
Well, Edge is on 2 now.
Edge is on 2, but there's loads of them now as well, isn't there?
I can't see Edge doing another one, to be fair.
No, I think where we're going from this with Edge is Edge was probably going to win the title at Mania and retire again.
And this was
what do you think he'll vacate it?
I think that's probably where we're going. And I was saying this to Pete last night after we went off. So what we think's possibly going to happen is there's going to be a title match at the Chamber.
Right.
We think Orton's going to get the belt back from Drew during that match. It's going to be Orton versus Edge at Mania.
Yeah.
Edge retaining. However, at that point, because Orton won the belt at Elimination Chamber, Orton would also be on 16-time champion. So then the next night on Mania, because Mania is 2 nights, we get another world title match for the vacant belt, which would be John Cena versus Randy Orton, 16-time champ versus 16-time champ to see who gets the 17-time champ with Ric Flair as a special guest referee. And if that shit don't write itself, I don't know what does.
We were talking about last night, and it works perfect.
Wow.
And they finally put an end to it then.
By the way, Dan.
Yeah.
You might want to do a timestamp. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I got it, mate. But also, yeah, apologise if the lads were talking there. We had a little bit of cutting out. My internet isn't the best at the minute, but obviously that will show on the recording, guys. So I apologise.
It just worked as it kind of flowed as we were talking about last night. It was like, do you know what? It makes so much.
Yeah,
sense.
the more you say it, the more it makes sense. It really does.
Puts the whole 17-time champion to bed because they've been talking about it for a long, long time, and it finally gets it done. Because at the end of the day, Cena and Orton ain't getting no younger.
No, and it's for me the right thing to do is for it to not be Cena and it to be Orton as well.
I think it was Orton, to be honest with you as well, because
Orton that takes it all the way back to Evolution days then, and that was the whole point of Evolution was that Rick was teaching Randy in particular. Obviously, Batista and Trips were sort of already main event, and Randy was just come up and was just starting a main event. And he'd been doing it for a couple of years by that point, actually, hadn't he? But he was either way, hadn't he?
Neither had Batista, mate.
No. And tell you what,
I don't remember anything until they were in Evolution. Randy Orton won the world title while in Evolution as a rookie. Still, he was the youngest ever champion at that point.
Yeah. Sorry, I do apologize. I get my years mixed up.
For all those people that don't they like quick storylines, let it build. And how long has this one been building for?
Yeah, I mean that is some years, but yeah, it would be perfect that it goes the full evolution cycle, if you will. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
With heel Flair.
It works. It genuinely works.
Because that's the thing. Don't forget, Flair's now heel as well. Apparently, so it works.
Yeah. Whilst we're back on us, coming back to the Rumble, I'm very pleased that Big E and Damian Priest were the two that had the most eliminations in the Rumble. I think that says that they are gonna start pushing the pair of them big time. You know,
I really want to see a Damian Priest Baron Corbin.
What, against each other, you mean?
Yeah.
God, you can imagine as a tag team. Jesus Christ.
I think Priest reminds me of the old style Baron Corbin with the long hair and the way he fights, the build of him. I think that'd be a really good match for him too.
It would be good. Who else had a pretty standout match? A lot of people just obviously come in, did their job. We had a lot of people with 0 eliminations in the Rumble. Probably a lot more than normal, I'd say, actually. But then again, the maximum was 4. Like, for a Rumble for eliminations, that's just crazy.
How can we forget Omar?
Omar. Shout out to Bush.
Yeah. How can we forget Omos?
Yeah, so he didn't even enter and he got 2 eliminations himself. What a legend.
And saved AJ how many times?
Yeah.
Which, just saying, I did call that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the age, obviously I was desperate for AJ to get the win. Obviously, one that I picked him, but also I wanted him to have that Rumble win before he finishes.
But I love the way that AJ got thrown out as well.
If AJ is going to wrap up, his contract is due now.
Yeah.
So it could be any time if he is going. If obviously.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen if maybe there'd been like if he is going, there'd been like a extension to Mania, and then.
Oh no, there'll definitely be an extension to Mania at least. But
yeah,
I wouldn't if he is going.
I mean, the thing is, he's not won the Universal as well, but you could argue that it's on the same par as the WWE title, and then the last thing for him to collect would be the AEW, wouldn't it? That would be the only thing after the Rumble.
Never been 24/7 champion.
I doubt that wouldn't count on the collection, Pete. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
It'd be one of the very few that's wrestled in WCW, TNA, Impact, WWE, and AEW.
And New Japan. Like, that would that's why I'm so desperate to see him win a Rumble. But I think last night was that chance. He's been on such a tear, especially with Omos alongside him. I think that I got a feeling that might have been his last chance.
Yeah,
which sucks really, but I mean technically it's not a title. It's just that's the other one you want to win.
Accolade, isn't it? You know, it's something that.
Yeah, it's one of the big ones.
I guess it's something else.
I mean, we also
never mate. It's wrestling.
Yeah, true. I mean, Edge came back and has won his second Rumble, so yeah, true.
11 years later.
I didn't mention his name earlier. But we had Seth Rollins return, didn't we, as well? So Seth's back from paternity. Come in, got 3 eliminations alongside Braun, but I don't know about you lads. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. I wasn't.
I didn't want Messiah Seth back.
I didn't. They hyped it up. We all thought he was coming out. And can you imagine the pop if he hit his whole music again?
Oh, burn it down. Burn it down and come off. It would have been great.
The fans' pops would have been brilliant.
Do you know what was worse as well? That when he came in, they started doing all the lights and that. And they were just like, the commentators again were ready with like a full speech that it was Seth Rollins. It was like, yeah, I didn't like that.
I would have liked him to come in earlier and have a nice little run in it, to be fair.
I think that's kind of the big difference between how, when talking about commentary, I think that's kind of the big difference between how it used to be with Jerry Lawler and JR as opposed to how it is now, because they didn't want to know what was going to happen on the show. Mm-hmm. They wanted to react to it like a fan would react to it. I think that worked very well. Whereas Michael Cole's method of doing it is to know everything before it happens so that he can call everything and have lines written down for him.
I like that on the whole. I do like that most of the time.
Rumble
the
is
whole
different.
point of the Rumble is the surprise.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see them go, oh my God, it's Seth Rollins! We haven't seen him in over a month!
The obvious like flashback is, for the love of mankind!
Yeah.
It's like, mate, come on. Like, literally stood there reading it from a script as he said it. It's like,
awful.
Yeah.
You know, that's my biggest thing with commentary nowadays, is it's not an emotional thing, which it definitely should be. It's more scripted and papered, and this is what we're saying at this point because we need to plug this and this advert and this.
Yeah.
You know, bullet points, mate. Bullet points. Let's just get the
it's too
get the
scheduled, isn't
essentials
it?
out and just let it flow and see what happens. It's kind of how we do this. You know, we have a set sort of thing that we're going for, but we don't sit and script it all out. We just go for it, and I hope people enjoy it. That's
Yeah. But any other standouts for you in the Rumble, apart from obviously the obvious? It was nice to see Dominic Mysterio as well. I thought getting his elimination against Bobby, I thought that was good. It's helps.
I enjoyed the Team Hell No reunion for a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a good moment.
Yeah, again, moments. Priest having his elimination against Morrison and The Miz, double elimination, bigs him up as a bit of a beast.
Bugs Bunny did the bunny hop.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny came out, did his thing. Still not actually. He does streaming, but I don't know, and I don't really care either. So don't even leave it in the comments.
Just gonna flat out tell you that his name's Bad Bunny, not Bugs
No,
Bunny.
it's Bugs Bunny. It's Bugs Bunny, mate.
Yeah,
It's Bugs Bunny.
Our
mate.
truth said it was Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, and R-Truth knows everything because his childhood hero was John Cena. And on that note, I think we will leave it there. And on that bombshell, power! We will leave it there.
Save me.
Thank you for getting this far. If you've got this far, guys, then please leave just leave the words Bugs Bunny in the comments. It's good to know, actually, see how far people have got, and if you actually get right to the end of the podcast. But yeah, please leave a like, share, subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.
In peace.
Yeah.